Hey YouTube, this is Scott back with a bit of a different video. I thought I'd go through one of these old magazines. Sometimes you see various channels doing these sort of magazine overviews from back in the day. I thought I'd give it a go. So yeah, I thought I'd dig out the old Sega Saturn magazines and just go through them. I haven't been through them for a couple of years, to be fair, so a lot of it is fresh eyes really. So, Sega Saturn magazine, used to get this back in the day when I had, obviously, the Saturn, when it was relevant. And this is issue 16. Now, obviously, this is the earliest issue I've got. There are, obviously, so you've got 1 to 15 issues that are missing. I've got a full set up to 16 to 38 or 37. But the early ones have bypassed me by, unfortunately. I haven't really been looking for them, to be fair, but when they do pop up on eBay, like old style retro magazines, they tend to go for between sort of £3 to £10. So usual sort of price for a collectible sort of older mag. This was a really well thought of magazine back in its day. I think it's aged quite well. It definitely contributed a lot to the Saturn in the UK when the system was pretty much down and out. I think this magazine kept it going a little bit because it was a really good magazine, really good read from the writers. So yeah, we'll see what is to and fro in 1997. So you've got Fighters Megamix, Dial Arcade, Street Fighter 3. You will often find that with a lot of these, if you compare this to like the official PlayStation magazine, which it was obviously, it's still going strong now, isn't it? Really, a lot of this is waffle, and a lot of it isn't actually relevant to the Saturn. A lot of it is based on rumours sometimes, and potential games that might be coming out. So you often find a lot of that in this magazine, and it covers a lot of stuff from various other bits of Sega as well. And I think when the Dreamcast was announced, it's issue 33 or so, the magazine literally just becomes an official Dreamcast magazine because there was literally nothing on Saturn. And again, you often find that with imports as well. So it's just content. So contents. Excuse me. So, Fighters Megamix, Tempest, Doom, awesome future games. Sorry about the glare. So Street Fighter 3. I think at the time there was a realistic impression that Street Fighter 3 probably would have come out on the Saturn. I think it would have definitely pushed the Saturn to its limits. I mean, obviously Street Fighter 3 is probably the most sort of technical 2D game on the system. I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. It might need to make a few concessions here and there, but I think it probably could have come out. Personally, I don't really rate Street Fighter 3. I find it's moved away a bit too much from the sort of series. So you can tell. So that's news. I mean, obviously Street Fighter 3 was a big thing back in its day, because up until now you'd only had sequels. From sort of the Street Fighter 2 and obviously Street Fighter Alpha. This was the sort of true, sequel really, wasn't it? 1996. So this is all the old issues. So that one, I'm not too sure which that issue. Yeah, that's not issue 1. AM2 mystery game revealed. NHL Power Play. So you can tell it's a 90s magazine, can't you? It you know, the sort of lads mag attitude was very sort of prevalent back in the day. It's quite interesting looking back at old magazines and seeing what they got excited over, and you know, games that didn't come out. So you got Adidas Power Soccer, that was obviously a PlayStation game, that never come out on the Saturn. Amok did. Andressi Racing did. Assault Rigs, I'm not familiar with that one. So you got Bomberman, Broken Helix, that didn't. Contra, that didn't. Legacy of War, I think I've heard of that one. Is that on PlayStation? Crypt Killer, that one did. Crusader, that one did. Die Hard Trilogy. Dungeon Keeper, that didn't. Was it Duke, Enemy Zero, FIFA 97, Fights Mega Mix. Grandia, that didn't make it. It did come out, not in Europe though. Grid Run, that did. Hexen, Into the Shadows. Nothing that came out on PlayStation either. Judgment Force, which is obviously Fighting Force. King of Fighters 95, that did. King of Fighters 96, which obviously did come out but didn't make it to the Saturn. Last Bronx. Lethal Forces 1 and 2, that obviously didn't. Manx TT, that did. Marvel Superheroes, Mr. Bones, which is obviously very expensive now. Project Overkill, no, that didn't. Quake, that did. Resi, Sculpture, Syndicate Wars, that didn't. 10-Pin Alley, that didn't. Toshinden, Ura, that did. Viper, that didn't. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, obviously very expensive now. NBA Live, Pandemonium, Perfect Weapon, not familiar with that. Touring Car, Shredfest. So that one certainly didn't. Soviet Puzzle Fighter, Virtua Fighter 3. You often find Virtua Fighter 3 is a running theme throughout this sort of magazine. On a sort of hope and a prayer, really. I don't think that was ever even possible on the Saturn. You know, you're talking about a Model 3 arcade game, which, you know, the Saturn could do a decent representation of Model 2, but Model 3, no chance. Wild 9, X-Men vs Street Fighter, that never did. Z, that did. Puzzle Fighter. This was quite expensive a couple of years ago. But I remember Shocks, he had said that when he was on his hunt for his full collection that a batch of these, 1,000, I don't know, thousands of them, but hundreds of these brand new in-box games never played had been found with Puzzle Fighter, and it reduced the price. Bit of a jump cut there. Die Hard Arcade preview. Dynamite Decker has very, very little to do with, hasn't got anything to do with the film, to be honest. They just kind of stick a sort of Die Hard type intro, and they don't even mention sort of John McClane on it. It's just the character looks, has a passing resemblance. Good game though, good fun. Soviet Strike, never played this, played the Mega Drive ones from back in the day. No great games. Enemy Zero, it's quite an expensive title nowadays. VAT Lover. So this never come out in the UK. This was on GameSack, on one of their episodes about a month or so ago. It's kind of like a 3D sort of racing sort of shooting game. I suppose it's kind of like a sort of top-down Twisted Metal, but yeah, it never made it out in the UK. Well, I think it done all right actually. It looked good fun. So letters, these always crack me up when you read these, because it's just like it's just like name calling in terms of like PlayStation. Look at this one. What on earth are Sega doing? I refer to the new Saturn joypad, which has taken an evolutionary step backwards. Two main selling points of the Saturn over the PlayStation for me were Virtua Fighter 2 and the directional button on the joypad, which are ideal for games like Street Fighter Alpha, which requires a lot of directional button roll moves. So why have Sega gone back to the old Mega Drive style directional pad and allowed the new style Saturn pad? Questions and answers. I recently bought a Saturn and decided to write some questions to test your large belly of knowledge. I recently played Doom on my mate's PlayStation. I wanted to know when the Saturn version would be out, and will it have Club of Doom level? When will Duke Nukem 3D be released, and when will it be link up? Blah blah blah. As I said before, Saturn Doom should be out now, and it's a real tragedy. Unfortunately, it probably has the Club Doom level, but it gets so jerky it's rendered virtually unplayable. Virtua versus Viper. So this is obviously Fighters Megamix. Quite an interesting game back in the day. I don't think they ever really pushed on with. This was obviously when sort of versus games were. I don't think it's quite as good as Virtua Fighter 2 on the Saturn. So you can tell, I mean, this is like an 10 page article on just like their moves. You've got a bit of waffle about the character. Jammy bugger. This is just Bug 2. Die Hard trilogy. So that's the proper sort of Die Hard game. Kind of obviously really kind of unique game back in this day. It was really much 3 games in one, really. You had a sort of Grand Theft Auto style, Vengeance. Die Hard 2 was just a straight up light gun game, and Die Hard was a sort of like run and gun third person. So Sonic 3D Blast. No one was more surprised than when Sega launched Saturn without a Sonic game to support it. With the exception of a cameo appearance in Bug, Sonic appears to have literally disappeared off the face of the planet. 82%, hardly the Sonic title that Saturn owners deserve, but a fine game nevertheless. Yeah, Sonic on Saturn was always a bit of a funny one, really. Obviously, I think they just wanted to move away a little bit from the sort of reliance on it. Well, it was probably one of their silliest mistakes. NFL club quarterback. They certainly sort of realised that mistake with the Dreamcast. And NBA Jam Extreme. Not played this version. So it's obviously 3D version, isn't it? But yeah, I'll probably stick to the 16-bit ones, I think. Toshinden Ura. Why did they bother? Toshinden Ura, although high res, is jerky and shallow compared to the wonder of Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers, especially the forthcoming Fighters. In the words, just don't bother. Yeah, it's pretty shit back in its day as well. It really was a terrible game. It was kind of like the first sort of 3D fighting game that sort of stood out on the sort of consoles like the Saturn and PlayStation. and it was a bit more flashy than Virtua Fighter and Tekken, so it really sort of stood out. But yeah, the actual gameplay was pretty pony, really. Tempest 2000, Jaguar Classic. Batman Forever. I think that's quite a expensive game as well. I think it just looks like a straight sort of side scroller, doesn't it? So back in this, I mean, the Saturn was getting a decent amount of games, first party and third party, but I think it was slowly being edged out. Bug 2. Obviously, Bug was a launch title. Doom, the famous version of Doom on the Saturn. "86% Saturn's capabilities horrendously underused in this horrifying, shambling mockery of conversion. Might look like Doom, but the vast majority of the enjoyment and playable was gone thanks to the slow motion and jerk vision displays." Yeah, that was really badly programmed, wasn't it? That was really badly done. Dark Saviour, 92%. So okay, this is kind of like an isometric RPG. Playing it back in the day, I remember. I couldn't tell you much more about it. So Saturn tips and cheats. Obviously, this was before the internet. We had to rely on these type of magazines. Shinobi X. Great game. Street Fighter Alpha 2. Street Fighter movie. It's just all cheats, really. Tomb Raider. So again, more kind of stuff about, you know, various games. So this is all the games that are out at the moment. Command & Conquer, Game of the Month, 94%. Virtua On, that's a good game, that Virtua On. If you never played it, it's very unique, but it's really plays really well. Sega Ages. There you have it. Red Earth. That's obviously a Capcom fighting game. Very, very strange kind of fighting game. Don't really see it very often. It's on Xbox, PlayStation 2. Yeah, that's it. So something like Command & Conquer. So there you go. Sega Saturn magazine issue 16. Thanks for watching. Take care.